Hello everyone, this is the English teacher again, وليد in another video. This video is geared towards English teachers. Please stay tuned. As you know, being a teacher implies a lot of implications and as a job manager. You get tied in a lot of responsibilities when you are stuck in the job of teaching. But sometimes you need to reflect a little bit about your job as a teacher. A lot of teachers actually think that teaching English is just learning a few grammar rules and just starting the journey of language teaching. It's actually more complicated than that. To do your job well, you have to do it first, to recall what happened, and then to reflect a little bit about it, then to conclude, and then to prepare yourself. This is in a nutshell the wheel of language professional learning and also language professional teaching. As an English teacher, you should always consider the fact that you need to start your lesson with something entertaining to students, that the caffeine that galvanize themselves and their motivation to launch very energetic classroom activities. It's not you should kickstart the lesson with grammar rules or with the specific items that you prepared beforehand. Actually, to look at the diagnosis of the lesson, if you look at the anatomy of the lesson and the structure of the lesson, each lesson has many objectives and it has the lesson plan to it and has the goals. And if you teach something, it doesn't necessarily mean that the students will learn. So teaching does not guarantee learning. Sometimes actually it ricochets, and sometimes what you teach to the students might end up learning something different. So you should keep that in mind. You should keep yourself flexible. Try to be as flexible as possible. I know that you get stuck with a time constraint in the lesson, and that doesn't give you that much maneuverability and flexibility with introducing something, but always try to supplement the lessons that you're teaching with extra worksheets that you may collect from the internet. There are a lot of actually websites that offer free tips for learning vocabulary or free tips for learning the core skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. However, the thought that I just thought that you might consider and spend some time reflecting about it is that when you're teaching something, what are the stages of your teaching the lesson? Like, what do you usually start with, and then what is the main part of your lesson, and what point of the lesson you decide, well, to wrap up the lesson plan and review it. There are always many elements that determine your lesson to be successful. I want you to reflect about what are the elements that you guess or sense from the lesson that the students have learned something that they've taken with them when the class is over, when you're no longer controlling what they do. Do you sense that some students get energetic to tell you back what they learned from you? Do you not sense that in the lesson? What are actually the main things and the main principles by which you determine that you were successful in delivering the piece of information that you decided to deliver to them? And if you could share that with me on the post, because this is a kind of reflective video for you guys to help you think a little bit further about your teaching practices and your pedagogy of language teaching. One final comment that I like to share with you guys is the authenticity of the lesson. No matter what lesson you're giving to the students, it should have some kind of relevance to their daily life activities. It has to do with what they will do in case they encounter this situation in their daily life. This is the authenticity of the lesson. It has really high or heavy weight in the lesson. You need to make sure that the lesson you're giving to the students is authentic enough for them to carry with them and be able to use it in their daily practices. If they don't do this, it's going to be just theory that they will just trash it in their old memory a few days later. So keep that in mind. Authenticity is really high element of a very successful lesson. And the authenticity, I mean, you can use many elements in your daily life to make your lesson more authentic. Try to bring like pictures, newspaper articles, or any kind of videos of people actually talking to each other using the targeted expression that you're giving to the students. But also remember that there are hierarchies of language teaching, starting from the phonological to the lexical to the grammatical to the discursive levels of language. And these 4 structures of language, in addition to the functional elements. So there is like the phonological element, and you should have a little bit of authenticity with that. You should give them sounds that native speakers say, and not sounds that they are pronounced by robotic speakers or robotic computers. And when they speak it, when the learners speak it, they do not have any similarity to the one that they produced by the computer. And on the grammatical level, you should explain the structure that you're teaching them is available in standard organic sentences. This will help students with their linguistic growth, their mental awareness of the structure and how it's used in a real situation, like the one that they use to communicate with each other using that targeted structure. And on the functional level, how it's used in what context, whether that's in a restaurant or in a bank or in the street or on a family gathering. And on the discursive level, when they interlock with each other or with people that they use some transitional language, transactional language, when they communicate with people that they don't know. So these are very essential elements of very successful lesson. Again, this is a very reflective lesson for you guys that just keeps your self-thinking reflectively about how empathetic you should be, how authentic you should be, how realistic you should be with the students in order for them to carry on their daily life with some lessons that they've taken from you as an English teacher, as a coach, as a sympathizer, as a leader, as a role example, or as an exemplary person. Keep thinking more. Keep thinking further, because this is the only way you can go beyond your comfort zone as an English teacher to develop yourself professionally and also to sharpen your language skills to be a very good teacher, a cutting-edge example for students. Have a wonderful day.